joyous day and what a joyous occasion. My name is Chris Guthrie. I am the Dean of Vanderbilt Law School, and on behalf of our school, I'm honored to welcome all of you, but especially our 2019 graduates to our commencement celebration. The United States is the global leader in higher education. Any credible ranking of the world's universities, including law schools, is dominated by the U.S. Likewise, the American legal system, despite its notable flaws, remains the envy of much of the world. Our constitutional order is widely emulated, and our private law rules govern the way business is done, not only in the United States, but also in most global transactions. This means that U.S. law schools, which reflect America's leadership position in both higher education and in law, are the world's leading training ground for lawyers and the world's leading repositories of legal scholarship. American law schools, in short, are in many ways the model for legal education around the globe. And among American law schools, Vanderbilt Law School stands out. By any reasonable measure of excellence, from the talents and promise of our student body, to the accomplishments of our graduates, to the scholarly productivity and classroom teaching of our faculty, Vanderbilt's law school is among the top few in the country. Those of you graduating from Vanderbilt Law School today and your loved ones should feel very proud. You should also feel appreciative because you have acquired and honed a set of skills at Vanderbilt Law School that will distinguish you from those without legal training. Your Vanderbilt legal education has taught you how to think in an analytical and ordered way, introduced you to legal vocabulary, doctrine, and institutions, emphasized the importance of using facts to make arguments, helped you develop the capacity to speak in a clear, concise, and authoritative manner, honed your writing skills to enable you to explain and persuade in prose in a way that few others can, enhanced your ability to anticipate, understand, respect, and challenge the perspectives of others, endowed you with keen insight into how to design and manage processes, and provided you with a methodology for solving both legal and non-legal problems. We know these skills will serve you well throughout your professional lives, whatever path or paths you ultimately choose. We also know that your paths will involve some measure of leadership and some measure of service, because leadership and service are the two hallmarks of our shared profession. Consider first leadership. More than half of all American presidents have been lawyers. Half of all governors are lawyers. Approximately half of U.S. Senate members and about a third of U.S. House members are lawyers. And lawyers are also well represented in the C-suite. Lawyers account for less than 0.5% of the population, but make up more than 15% of the CEOs in Fortune 100 companies. Lawyers are well known not only for their leadership, but also for their service to others. Many lawyers devote their professional lives to service through their work in public interest, not-for-profit, and public sector jobs. Others follow different career paths, but dedicate a meaningful fraction of their lives to pro bono work. Every year, for example, Tennessee lawyers alone provide more than 800,000 hours of pro bono service, roughly 80 hours of free legal service per attorney. And here at Vanderbilt Law School, those of you graduating today have already provided more than 6,000 hours of pro bono and community service while in law school. Our outstanding faculty has played a vital role in preparing you to lead and to serve. Will you please join me in thanking them for all they have done for you? We are joined today not only by our faculty, but also by many members of our law school staff. They devote their professional lives to ensuring that you have the best possible law school experience. Will you please join me in thanking the staff for all they do? And throughout law school, you've been supported by the family, friends, and loved ones who are here with you today. Will you please join me in thanking your loved ones for all of their support? On behalf of our faculty and staff, I want you to know that we are grateful for all you have done for us. You are among the very most talented law students in the law school's nearly 150-year history. You have excelled academically and professionally. You have exemplified the highest ideals of the profession by devoting yourselves to others. And you have demonstrated that we can disagree without being disagreeable, that civil discourse is alive and well. We are truly privileged to have had you as our students, and we will be honored in just a few minutes to claim you as our graduates. Thank you and congratulations. Every year, the law school invites the graduating students to select their commencement speaker from among eligible Vanderbilt Law School faculty. I am delighted that the J.D. and LL.M. classes of 2019 have selected Professor Rebecca Allensworth to deliver this year's commencement address. Rebecca is a leading antitrust scholar who holds a bachelor's degree from Yale, a master's degree from Cambridge, and a J.D. from Harvard Law School. Before entering the legal academy, she clerked for Judge Richard Posner on the 7th Circuit and served as a Clemenco Fellow at Harvard. During the 8 years she has been on our faculty, she has received national recognition for her antitrust scholarship, been cited by the United States Supreme Court, and won the Hall-Hartman Outstanding Professor Award 4 times, including 2 times this year alone. Will you please join me in welcoming your commencement speaker, Professor Rebecca Allensworth.
Mr. Loria. Many commencement addresses deliver a simple, single, sort of inspiring message. Work hard and follow your dreams. It sounds great, and it's probably good advice. But for me, and maybe for many of you, it's always been impossible. Not the working hard part. We can all work hard, and I know that's been a very important part of my success. And I know if you're here wearing that ridiculous outfit, I know you know the importance of working hard to your success. It's the other bit. It's the part about following your dreams. What if you don't have any dreams? I don't mean not having ambition. I always had ambition in spades. And I don't mean not having general professional goals. I wanted what everyone wants, what you want. I wanted important work that's interesting, challenging, pays well while I'm dreaming. And perhaps most of all, work that's super fun. But almost no one knows what job will lead them to that kind of work. How could they? Much less the path that they would take to it. I think the only people who can honestly say, I have always wanted to be X, and now I'm living the dream, are movie stars, firefighters, race car drivers, maybe yacht owners. Some of you, not me, can say, I've wanted my whole life to be a lawyer, and now you are. Well, the joke's on you, okay? There's no such thing as a lawyer. There's tax advisors, plaintiffs' attorneys, public defenders, judges, regulatory attorneys, patent prosecutors, lobbyists, law professors, trustees. The list goes on and on. And for the right person, each one of those jobs provides fulfillment of that general goal, to make a living doing something that you love and feels important. But how do you make the general specific? Instead of big dreams, the thing that has defined my path to professional happiness have been individual conversations, usually with mentors, where I get an idea. An idea, or we might call it an opportunity, maybe less glamorous than a dream, but it is just as powerful a guidepost in your professional success as a dream can be. Let me be specific. I can think of 2 moments in my career that altered the course of my career. The first one was when I was 24, and it was a conversation I had with Professor Vicki Kahn, an English professor at UC Berkeley. This was right after I had been rejected from every Ph.D. program I had applied to in English, including hers. She let me audit her Milton class and kind of took me under her wing. And I remember she took me out for coffee and wanted to talk to me about my professional goals and the possibility of reapplying to PhD programs. And keep in mind, at this point, I had never even considered law or law school, except perhaps at those moments when, as a kid, when I was being really argumentative, my parents said, "You'd make a good lawyer." I'm sure some of you have heard that before. And she said, out of the blue, I thought this was a conversation about how to become an English professor. She said, "You should be a law professor." The second moment was more recent. It was after I came here. I had worked up a research agenda that was good enough to get me the job, but especially in retrospect, probably didn't have the legs to get me through tenure. I had a phone call with a former law professor of mine about co-authoring an article, and he said, "You know, it's always bothered me that the regulated, licensed professions get a free pass from the antitrust laws." Well, that idea became an article we wrote together, and then I wrote 2 more, and now I'm working on a book on the subject that gives me the kind of professional joy I want for every one of you. That first conversation led me to my career, and that second conversation has led me to thrive in it, for now, until the next inflection point comes along. It's tempting to think of these moments as lucky, random, as happenstance. I don't play or really even understand football, but it kind of felt like somebody handed me a football and then pointed to the end zone, and all I had to do was run. But I'm convinced that it's not random, that these moments, making these moments happen for you and following them to your professional happiness there's an art to it and maybe a little bit of a science. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. And because I know these things should be kept short, and because you're into bullet points, I have broken it down into 3 easy steps. First, find your mentors. It is no accident that these conversations I'm talking about happened with people who were senior to me, doing something I wanted to do, whom I respected greatly. And they weren't the only ones. I remember Ed Chang telling me, "Don't throw good money after bad," about my old research agenda. I remember Kevin Stack saying, of the new idea, "You've got a tiger by the tail." I guess my faculty just pretty much communicates in old-timey aphorism. Your first task when you leave this place will be to identify people who are good at what they do and seem to love it. Seek them out, ask for their help. You may be surprised at how generous they are with their time and their encouragement. Second, you need to recognize a good idea when it comes along. How do you know when somebody has handed you a football and it's time to run? Here my advice gets a little vague and hand-wavy. It's hard to say exactly what makes a good idea. A good idea is often, but not always, a way to connect people with a need that they didn't even really know they had. A good idea is often, but not always, a road less traveled by. But remember that recognizing the football is just half of it. You also have to know that that football is for you. You have to know yourself well enough to know what you want, what you like, what you will work hard at. You have to know what kind of person the opportunity requires and whether that person is you. Third, you have to be willing to change. This is harder than it sounds, and it's harder as you progress in your career. It's what Professor Chang meant when he said, don't throw good money after bad. If you get stuck in a path you've chosen, or worse, a path you feel like has been chosen for you, you won't pick up that football. I gave up on English grad school. I have an aunt who still looks at that as a professional failure of mine. I ditched my old research agenda, and I went up for promotion with an awkward bundle of sort of unrelated articles. Stick-to-itiveness, determination are important, but don't overdo it. Flexibility, risk-taking, willingness to change, maybe even more important, professional virtues. So if you have a dream, good for you. You can work hard and follow your dreams. I hope you enjoy racing cars on yachts. But for the rest of you, look out for these ideas, these opportunities, these inflection points. Surround yourself with good, smart people who are rooting for your success. Know yourself well enough to recognize when you've been handed a football and it's time to run. And be willing to change when the time comes. I guess there's one more thing you have to have, and that's the confidence to take up that football and run. And here, yet again, I'll rely on yet another law professor telling me something wise. My favorite law professor said to me once, don't overestimate your ability to mess this up. He actually didn't say mess this up, but I was told by my husband that I'm not allowed to swear in the graduation school. So here you are, degrees in your hand, or almost. It takes a little while, I'll be honest, it's gonna take a while. Ready and poised to live the professional life of your dreams, even if you don't have any. Don't overestimate your ability to mess this up. Congratulations.
I think English literature's loss was law's gain. Please join me again.